Hello everyone, it's Dr. Nikki, the board certified family nurse practitioner back in the house. I hope you're all well and you're staying safe. In today's episode, I will be talking about advanced directives. Advanced directives. I go over this with all my patients every single day. It's really important to know what advanced directives are and what you can do for your health. All right. So, pretty much advanced directives, they are documents that you can put in place. So, in terms of what kind of medical care you want, if you're too ill or hurt to express your wishes, if you're in a coma, advanced directives are legal documents that allow you to spell out your decisions about end of life care ahead of time. And I know that a lot of people, when they hear the word advanced directives, they start, thinking that, oh, wow, you're thinking that I'm going to die soon. I'm scared. I don't want to think about it now. That means that I'm planning to die soon. No, it's not. All right. So it allows you to spell out your decisions about end of life care ahead of time. All right. It lifts the burden of your family members to make that hard decision if you do have some wishes that you want to be in place ahead of time. All right, so they can give you a way to tell your wishes to your family, to your friends, to the healthcare professionals, and to avoid confusion later on. All right. So a living will tell what type of treatments you want if you're dying or if you're unconscious. Like I said, if you're in a coma or you're permanently unconscious, you can accept or refuse medical care. Yeah, you can. All right. So you might want to give instructions on tube feeding. All right. We talk about tube feeding, organ and tissue donation. If you want to be resuscitated in the event that you stop breathing or your heartbeat stops. All right. If you want to be resuscitated, if you want us to give you CPR, or if you do not resuscitate, DNR, the use of breathing machines, the use of dialysis, as I said, tube feeding, and all that. All right. So, we have the living will that tells what type of treatments you want if you're dying or in a permanent unconscious position. And then we have the DPOA for healthcare is also a document that names your healthcare proxy. So if you want a proxy, is somebody that you trust to make health decisions for you if you're unable to do so. And a lot of people would put maybe their family member, a loved one in charge of that. All right. So if you have maybe a spouse, a brother, or sister, anybody, a parent that you want to be your proxy, that person can be your DPOA. All right. And so, as I said before, there are many things that cause confusion during end of life for family and your loved ones. And if you put all these things in place already in a legal document, it would help a lot with that. So as I said, a living will is a written legal document that spells out the medical treatments you would and would not want if peradventure, to keep you alive or to make painful decisions, medical decisions for you, such as pain management and organ donation. So we have CPR, as I mentioned before. If your heart stops beating, do you want them to resuscitate you by CPR, or do you want them to use any kind of device that would deliver electric shock to stimulate your heart? All right. And then we have ventilation. It takes over breathing for you if you're unable to breathe on your own. So do you want to be put on a ventilator? We have tube feeding, supplies the body with nutrients and fluids intravenously, or via a tube in your stomach. Do you want that? How long? If you decide to have a tube feeding, when and how long do you want it to be in place until they take it out? All right, and then we have dialysis. So dialysis is removes waste products, of course, from your blood and manages the fluid levels and your electrolytes when your kidneys are no longer functioning well. All right, so do you want dialysis in the event that something happens to you? When and for how long do you want to receive this treatment? All right, and then we have comfort care, which is also known as palliative care. All right, includes any number of interventions that may be used to keep you comfortable and to manage pain while abiding by your other treatment wishes. All right, so this includes wish to die at home, getting pain meds. Do you want to be fed ice chips to soothe your mouth dryness? Because mouth dryness is one thing that a lot of people go through when they're on comfort care. And then do you want to avoid any kind of invasive test or treatment? Some people, when they're on palliative care, they do not want to get their blood taken anymore. They do not want vital signs to be even taken anymore. So do you want that, or you don't? Do you want any kind of invasive tests or treatment? All right, and then we talked about organ donation. So for transplantation, based on your will, your organs can be removed for donation. So if you want to donate your organ, you will be on a life-sustaining treatment temporarily until the process is completed. All right, so definitely for you to help any kind of healthcare agent to avoid any kind of confusion or dilemma, you want to make sure that you state all that in your living will. All right, and donating your body as well for research purposes, contacting medical schools, universities for donations and all that. You want to make sure that all that is also addressed in your living will. All right, so as I mentioned before, I mentioned do not resuscitate, which is a DNR, and do not intubate orders. All right, so you do not need to have an advance directive or a living will to have a do not resuscitate order or do not intubate DNI. We have DNI and we have DNR. So do not intubate is DNI, and then do not resuscitate is DNR. You do not need to have an advance directive or a living will to have those in place. To establish a DNR or DNI order, you can tell your doctor or your healthcare providers about your preferences, and then they can just write